Okay.
Yeah. Are you guys attacking atheism or are you defending it?
I am saying that atheism is unreasonable and stupid.
I agree.
I'm not an atheist.
What is your
right.
role? Like, where do you come from when you say that?
What do you mean my role?
Like, where do you stand on that? Are you religious?
Oh, I am. I'm allowed to
Especially the
I'm a theist.
historical
I'm a Christian.
kind. Even
as far as I
the
would
new
understand.
atheism is
And I'm allowed to
a bunch of nonsense.
Okay, so when I read your sign,
But at least
not
they
that,
believe
like,
in a higher power.
kind of spoke to me, but I mean, even listening to scientists, they do say that there's benefits to having faith, you know?
Totally. And natural selection has led us to faith.
Yeah, totally.
I say two things.
Sorry.
There was a guy that taught atheism at Temple University,
Yeah.
and he had all they read were atheist authors, Marx.
Yep.
They read Nietzsche.
Yep.
They read Freud.
Yep.
Okay, and so forth. And there are two things atheists fall down on. One, they deny the law of non-contradiction.
Yep.
And two, they believe something comes from nothing.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
That's a collapse right
So
there.
it doesn't work.
Because when you deny the law of non-contradiction, you are now
Yeah.
basically saying, oh,
Yeah.
you're trapped.
What is that?
Because you must use the
Sorry,
law of
I'm not, like-
non-contradiction to deny it.
Yes, the law of non-contradiction is like you can't have a square circle. Thank you, see ya. Like, is it possible to make a square circle? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's an oxymoron, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're an oxymoron.
So you say atheism essentially is incoherent in that it can't make sense of reality because it has to borrow from the theistic worldview. Because only the theistic worldview can allow for logic.
That's not the problem with atheism.
As an atheist, if you're
It
consistent,
violates the law of
and you know what
non-contradiction.
atheism is, you would agree, not you, but an atheist would agree that there's no such thing
No,
as
the
free
problem
will.
is they deny God.
Because we're basically all a chain reaction of chemicals starting at, a lot of people say, the Big Bang. Right? They would also say you're not conscious because consciousness cannot come from non-consciousness. Like, when I say consciousness, I mean like you're aware, you have a self in you, right? Like you're awake, if you will. Not necessarily awake, but like you have a self. The question to the atheist is, can consciousness come from this table? And they would all say no.
Yeah.
So the question is, well, was there ever a time where consciousness did not exist? And they would say yes, because the Big Bang was not
Yeah,
conscious.
right.
So the question is, then how are all of us conscious? Where did we come from?
Right.
And the theistic answer is, well, God has always been conscious. So
I guess that's where I disagree with atheists. Like, like I said, I believe in like the benefit of believing that there's something greater.
Right.
Whether that, and you know what, like I think the other kid, Owen, I overheard, he said he was agnostic, which I believe is kind of insinuating that there's like this.
I'm trying to hold my tongue.
They like
here.
to call it like the worldly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a consciousness, or like how they say the universe, like we're all just the universe experiencing itself. I really like that because I think that there's something unifying about that. I don't know.
Okay.
I literally could just talk about the benefits.
So you're not
of
religious
faith.
then?
Not necessarily, but I do love. I would even go to a Catholic church. I'd love to go to a Christian church. Like, I think that there's wisdom to be shared and all that, and even Buddhist. Like, I align
Not necessarily KNOT.
heavily with like Taoist beliefs and Buddhist beliefs, but that's not to say that I don't agree with like Christianity, because I grew up Catholic. You know, I wear the Virgin Mary. Like, I think that all of these are true, and I think that they're honestly based in science. So like that's where I almost agree with them. I do think that our consciousness is a lot more scientific than we think, though.
Okay.
I think that everything is based in science. I disagree with people who are a little bit more.
I doubt she even knows what science means.
They're called-
She has a different definition of science here.
I believe that where the Bible is like exactly true.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That's a little bit, you know.
It's more fundamental.
Yeah.
Well, most Christians believe it's infallible or without error.
Yeah.
But it's a basic theological claim. The Bible never even says that.
I mean, even that is like, you know, that's not for me to judge if they do believe that that's true, because it's like I just said, there's benefits to having those faiths, and it's like.
I think truth and goodness can come from that.
Right.
Those religions anyway.
Yeah,
but let me
for
just
sure.
clarify. You're not saying that all religions are true in their truth claims, right? Is it fair to say that every religion has truth in it?
I think that every religion has truth in it, and I like the same way that I don't agree with like every single little story in the Bible. Like, I don't.
I probably have the. I
No,
probably.
you know, I don't-
I'm probably the only one even close
That's a
to
reasonable
having a God capable of doing that.
Thing
It's a reasonable
happened,
take.
you know, and I think it's an act of arrogance.
No
to
one
believe that
worships a God that good except for me.
This is for sure what happened when we don't know. You realistically don't know.
Yeah, I would agree that we should keep a sense of skepticism, or like we don't know.
Right.
But eventually you have to make choices in your life based on the evidence that's presented to you. Like, not to be too religious, but you say you're raised Catholic. Would you say that you believe, for example, that like Jesus Christ like was resurrected? Like, do you believe he like died and came back to life?
You know, that's where they lose me. That's really where they lose me. It's
Okay.
just, but it's also like, you know, how did that event go down to where it was perceived like that? You know, it's like no one who was there is alive today.
But the historical record is clear that we have testimony, at least firsthand, maybe secondhand accounts that they saw Jesus who was alive, not Paul, but the other apostles. They saw that he was alive. They saw him die on the cross, and then they saw him alive again after 3 days.
Right.
So the question is, like, why are these people in history telling this story in these ways? And the argument would be they gave their lives for it. Like, they obviously weren't lying with deceit.
Right.
They genuinely believe that Jesus Christ was risen, if you will.
Right.
And people said, deny it, or we're going to kill you. And they said, we can't do that. And so, right. So that's evidence. That's some evidence.
That could be evidence, you know, but you know, it was so long ago. It's just, I don't know. That could be true. You know,
If
I'm
it
not
is
saying-
true, would that be an important thing to come to understand?
If it was true, well, then I would argue this. Like, what makes all the stories from like all the mystical lore and all the mystical stories from other religions not true? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it depends what you mean by true, right? Could they have truth in them as far as what they teach principally? Sure, I don't have a problem saying, even as a Christian, as someone who believes that the person of Jesus Christ as taught in the New Testament is the Son of God and the Savior of the world, I think Islam can have truth and good things in it. Same with Judaism. I mean, pick any religion or any worldview. I think there you can draw good from it.
Right.
But the question is, like, there is a historical question of, was Jesus Christ risen from the dead? And Christians obviously are convinced by that.
yeah, that's like a big contention too between people. So, but I guess what really made me question my religion growing up was like the fact that, so I'm Mexican, the fact that Mexicans practice Catholicism is due to culture and colonialism. So it's like
my mom,
the only
family.
reason that I believe that is because it was brought to this area, you know? So
that's called the genetic argument, like where you're born determines what religion you are. I would agree with that's probably true. It heavily influences you, but you do have people who are not raised Christian who then find Christianity. So it doesn't disprove Christianity.
Well, and vice versa, you know,
Yeah.
but I guess my point being that it's a little bit arbitrary, you know?
It depends on if you're an atheist or if you're a theist, right? 'Cause if you're a theist, you could posit some theological claims regarding, like, maybe you were meant to be here, maybe God wanted you to be a Catholic. I mean, there's so many solves once you open the door to theism. If you assume atheism, which it doesn't sound like you are, then you can. There's lots of solves for it. I think. Are you familiar with Mormonism? Or
I
Mormons?
am, yeah, and yeah. I mean, honestly, I won't lie to you. My my exposure to Mormonism has been through the reality show of The Secret Life of
Oh,
Mormon.
Mormon Lives, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yes. Well, not really. Some clips.
Right.
You know, that's not a great representation.
No,
of
I know.
what we teach, right?
I know. That's like, I mean, they're very upper class, very heavily social media. So
Well, that's not to say, because I know Latter-day Saints, Mormons who are upper class in social media, but like as far as like the morality, aren't they like swingers? Like, don't they like engage sexually with? Like,
yeah,
like
they
that's
are.
totally contradictory to what we teach, right?
Right.
We would say that marriage is sacred, and anyway. So.
Right. So I guess like for your sake of like being a Mormon, do you feel like like I would say that each and every like set of rules that each religion has is a little bit arbitrary. Like I just think
Unless it's God who's giving it, that's the claim.
right. But do you feel like I guess my question to you is just like do you feel like the things that you do like following your beliefs do you feel like they're being closer to God by doing that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and to be fair, other people think it is too. But the question is, like, if just because someone feels like they're getting closer to God doesn't validate the truthfulness of their religion, right? Because I would say Islam, Muslims think they're getting closer to God, and I would say they're getting farther away, right? Based on what they believe. Does that make
That's
sense?
where we would disagree. But
Okay,
that's
so-
also where you're very obviously very faithful in your religion. So it's
But like, what about like a Satanist who thinks they're getting? What if they think God is Satan and like they're getting closer, but they're like doing immoral things? Like, are they getting closer to God? Like, what is God then?
you know what? That's I feel like bringing up Satanism is a little bit like removed from because all of those theistic like beliefs they're all kind of thinking of like a greater good. That's kind of the idea of God.
Sure.
It's a
Okay, so
greater
that's how you're
good.
defining God.
Yeah,
I think all
and I
religions
think it's a
can.
feeling. I do like you said like you may feel like you're getting closer to God. I think that that's getting closer to God, and I think that it's based also scientifically with like I get a good feeling when I'm kind of like serving other people. That's my thing.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Not to be, I don't want to be controversial, but this applies. We don't have to talk about the morality of this. But what's your stance on abortion? Do you think abortion is moral? Because I was just going to say, like, what if somebody thinks that their God allows them to have an abortion? Like, is that bringing them closer to God by having an abortion? Like, I'm just saying there are things somebody can do that will lead them away from God when they think it's leading them to Him.
Right. Well, I don't think anybody would feel like they're getting closer to God by having an abortion.
I mean, I
I'm going to
don't
be so completely honest. I think that everybody would feel guilty about that, and I want to say that from the standpoint of a woman and from someone who believes that I should have a choice. I think anybody who
If
has an
somebody
abortion.
feels like, who are you to tell somebody you don't feel like you're getting closer to God?
Well,
But they
I've
actually
never met
feel
anybody, or I don't think I would ever meet a woman who feels like they're getting closer to God by having an abortion. I'm going to be completely honest.
But what if like they don't have enough money to raise the baby and killing the baby is the only way that they can live their life in a way that allows them to be closer to God? I mean, there's so many different ways you can look at it. I'm not here to talk about abortion. I'm just
Right, no, I get
saying
you.
maybe there are things that people do that think they're getting closer to God that actually aren't. I guess the question is, what is God? What is good? Right?
Yeah, so I guess I wanted to talk about that more. Like I said, I think that we have like almost like a biological thing within us that like when you are like we're very community-based animals. Like so I get a good feeling, which I think this is like a human thing. I get a good feeling by doing something for other people, putting the other people before me. I don't know if that's just me.
No, I would say that's a divine principle.
Right, exactly. So I think that whether it's biological, whether it's divine, I think that it's there for a reason, and there's something beautiful about that. There's something spiritual about that. So
Okay.
I guess to me, it's like whatever people define that feeling as, it's like that's God.
Okay, that's fair.
That's God.
But could someone like, what if two religions contradict in what they think is good? Like, how do you know which one is right?
Well, that's why I don't follow any of them because they all contradict, and I think that, and this is not me making a pass on your religion. This is just my personal beliefs. I think that they're all written with some sort of bias, what they want to share, what they want to instill in their communities. So that's.
You mean
that's
the
it.
people who like started their religions?
Yeah.
Is it possible that God started a religion?
I think God started all the religions, but everybody has morphed them into.
Do you think God started all of the religions?
Yeah.
Like, how are you defining religion?
Like
you think He started Islam and He started Judaism
well,
and
the
He
culture started the religions, but God has always been there. It's just I think each culture is like taking like everybody has that access to God, and it's just the culture that has morphed them into all these different beliefs and like all these things. It's like why can't we all just like agree? Like
So
we're all
God
on the same
started
line.
all the religions and then we basically like changed them.
Well, I don't think he started it, but like I think like we felt that divine. And you know what? There's also the argument that there is no God. And like
To be honest, that's kind of to me as you talk, it kind of feels, and I'm not faulting you for this. It kind of feels like you're trying to justify religion and the goodness of it in an atheistic world. You're kind of saying like it's almost as if you live in a world where there is a God, but like He doesn't interact with us, and we're just trying to figure it out. Is that kind of the feeling? Like we should do good, but like
I think maybe in the past, like I said, I have no idea what has happened in the past. So it's like
Can I? It's okay if not. You have to go. I was going to ask you. We could talk all day. As far as I'm concerned regarding religions, and you're talking about different religions and talking about how we can know that they're true. Would you be okay if I gave you what I feel is like the best argument for Mormonism? As far as like,
Sure,
because our claim would be that God speaks to us and like to our church leaders, right? In the same way that Moses claimed to his people, "Hey, God's speaking to me," or even Jesus Christ, or I mean, pick any religion where the person is saying God's speaking to me or us. Essentially, here's the argument: it's a miracle. And so my question would be, what's the? How do we explain a miracle like this? We're called Mormons. And the reason why is because we have a book of scripture called the Book of Mormon. You've probably heard of that before, maybe. And I just like to say very quickly the origin of the coming forth of the Book of Mormon. Essentially, long story short, the claim is that God gave a man named Joseph Smith, you've probably heard of him before, a set of ancient gold plates and gave him the power to translate that. And there's details I can tell you. But I'd just like to tell you a little bit about the process of the translation and ask you how it could be possible in an atheistic or a naturalistic world. Here's the details simply. In 65 days, Joseph Smith produced 269,000 words. Now, let me give you some comparisons. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings, when he wrote Lord of the Rings, was writing at 109 words per day. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, was writing 293, which is a little higher. Stephen King, who writes a lot of horror books, his fastest writer, his longest writer rather, he was writing 650 words a day. These are professional, educated authors, up to 650 words a day. Joseph Smith, when he's translating this book of scripture, he's producing over 4,100 words per day on average. In the book, we have remnants of ancient Hebrew writing styles that he didn't have. In the book claims to have been written by over 20 different authors. When you put the Book of Mormon into AI today and you say how many people authored this book, it gives about that number, about 20. It's called psychometry. He has witnesses to the plates. Like, how did he produce this book in this way as far as the historical record is concerned? I'm not expecting you to have an answer, but I'm saying it's a convincing argument as far as how do you explain that? And you, as a person who maybe believes in a God, might say God helped him to do it, but then you have to be a Mormon, right? If you say God helped Joseph Smith write the Book of Mormon, that's what we believe. We're the only religion that believes that, right?
right. Well,
So would you agree that's amazing?
sure, yeah, I'd agree that that's that could have happened. I wasn't there. You know what I'm
But
saying?
the question is, you have to contend with that now. The Book of Mormon is now in your life as far as your knowledge of it. And you have to ask yourself every day, where did the Book of Mormon come from? How did he produce it like that? And by the way, if the Book of Mormon is true, it's the best physical historical evidence that we have of the resurrected Jesus Christ. Because part of the Book of Mormon is Jesus Christ coming to America. The Book of Mormon is an ancient record of people in America that are dealing with God, the same that the Bible is in the Middle East,
Right.
essentially.
Well, I've seen videos disproving it. I've seen videos proving it.
Disproving Mormonism.
Like all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's critiques. It's not that we have any problems.
With that being said, it's like I think everything, and this is like just kind of pulling back again away from Mormonism. I think this is all noise. I think everything about that like differentiates each religion is all noise. And it's like if you're getting to a truth that is like actually
But how do you know what truth is? That's the question.
Well, I think that, like I said, every single religion,
How do you
feel it. That's for you to decide.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
And if people contradict in their feelings of truth, how do you know which one's right?
I think that
Can truth contradict?
I think that the noise is where it contradicts, but there is a truth there that will be a capital T truth for everybody, and those are the universal things that we can all agree on. And when there's contention, that's noise. I truly believe that.
Okay, I agree with that, but you're into some issues like if you ask, was Jesus Christ resurrected? The answer is not yes and no, right? What if someone
The answer
says,
is I don't know.
But if he, that's the argument, is if he was, that has great implications. That means Islam is untrue, Judaism is untrue, the other major religions are untrue.
How does that make Judaism and Islam untrue?
Because Judaism says that Jesus Christ was an apostate Jew. They don't believe in him as if Jesus Christ in the New Testament is the Son of God and the Messiah, that makes Judaism false, because they would say he is not the Messiah. They're still waiting for Jesus to come, or a Messiah to come.
I think that might be some of the noise I'm talking about. Like, it just doesn't matter.
It
Like,
does matter,
look at
it has
morals.
implications though of how we live our lives, right?
I mean, not really. It's like the morals, you're still getting like morals from Judaism, you're still getting the morals from Christianity. It's
Sure,
like,
but Judaism has 613 laws that we'd have to follow. Like, how do you know which of those to follow? Right? My point is, depending on which religion is true, it has implications. Like, are you going to live Sharia law if Islam is true? Like, that contradicts the Bible, that contradicts Judaism. Like, you can't have all of it at the same time.
Well, I think you just have to. I think you can honestly throw a dart, pick one, and follow it to the best of your ability, and like see how you feel.
But don't you want to be in the religion that is true, or have the worldview that's the most true? Like, throwing a dart, that's random. Like, what if you get paganism? Like, what if you believe in Zeus?
Well, then if it resonates with you, then that's for that individual to make. And it's like if it makes you a better person, makes you happier.
But you're ignoring the issue that each religion has a different definition for what it means to be good. Like, where are you drawing?
So?
Where are you drawing? Oh, sure.
I think, but like I said, it's like that is almost biological. I think that it's just going to be something.
But some religions justify killing people. Like, are you okay with that?
Could be noise, you know.
Killing people is noise.
I'm saying like that's where they contend. Like that's not like I mean even Christianity is like justifies slavery. It's like that's.
I don't think it does. I think incorrect reading of the Old Testament justifies slavery. But I don't think it's what the Bible teaches as far as we're concerned.
Exactly, it's not what it teaches. It's just like it's.
That's what I'm
okay,
saying.
so like
I'm
which
saying,
religions justify murder? I guess.
I say Islam. Islam can justify murder as far as let me tell you a story. I had an Islamic friend in college who, when he went back to his country, he had a little cross when he came to school in the United States. He wasn't a Christian, but he joined an organization where the emblem was a cross. And he came and he said, "Hey, I'm going back to Saudi Arabia. Will you keep this cross for me?" And I said, "Why?" He said, "I can't take that back to my country," inferring that.
Well, that's a corrupt government. We know that. You know, they're very corrupt.
But it's not the government. It's the religion.
No, it's not.
Sure it is.
It's not because there are.
You don't think Islam justifies killing Christians?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, I'd have to do my own research on it to like make sure that what you're saying is true. But I.
Okay, what about the Israel-Palestine war? Are they justifying killing each other over land?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think that,
okay.
you know what that is.
Like, people are killing each other over religion. It's not just we're all good people and we just try to do what's good.
That's where I kind of feel like it's when you devote yourself so entirely to a religion that it almost becomes like an ego thing. Like that's where it's kind of doing the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing.
Okay, but if you're going to abstain from all religions, now you can't justify morality. You're essentially a practical
That's
atheist.
not true because I get a good feeling from doing right by other people, and
I get a good feeling from overpowering someone and stealing their stuff.
Really? Do you actually?
I definitely could.
I'm gonna ask you
I
personally.
would say
Do you actually feel that way? Do you not feel guilty from doing that?
People,
I'm asking you.
There are people who are okay with that, and in the naturalistic world, that is okay. I, as a Christian, would say it's morally wrong, but I can justify it. I'm saying you can't justify Mother Teresa's actions from Hitler because they're just doing what they think is right. Didn't Hitler think he was doing the right thing?
Yeah, he did.
killed millions of Jews, and so you can't just say, well, he can do that.
That was like that was where he. That was an ego thing. That is what religion is trying to.
But he wasn't
teach us
doing it in the name of
against
religion. He was doing it essentially in the name of what
He was
religion?
doing well, not in like Jewish people,
Yeah.
but also racially Jewish people.
But it wasn't his
And
religion. He wasn't using religion to say, this is my religion and my religion tells me to do this. He was just doing it. He was essentially an atheist. He was abstaining from all the religions and justifying his actions. He was raised Catholic but didn't adhere to it by any means.
Right. Well,
That's the issue you get into is you have these real life events and wars where people are justifying murder and genocide based on a lack of belief, right? If you're just saying, let's just let it go, let people decide.
I agree with that. I really do.
And I just give you an example, the Holocaust.
Yeah, the Holocaust was directly due to like him looking down on this group of people.
Well, that was his morality.
Due to their religion, though.
Okay, but his worldview said, I'm going to start the Aryan race. We need the perfect race. So we need to get rid of all these people.
Yeah, I think
And you're saying
that's-
is that wrong? Was that wrong of him?
Yeah.
But in his world, it wasn't wrong. And all the people, well, not all of them, but a lot of the Germans agreed with him.
I wrote an essay about this. I'm trying to think about what I said in regards to that because I spoke directly on that. I think I spoke about. Well, he first of all he differentiated himself from this group of people via their religion. He said this religion is bad,
Yeah.
and like for whatever I believe is better. Maybe
Sure.
no religion is better.
That's what everyone says, but when you kill people over it, that's an issue.
Totally, yeah. And
That's what I'm saying. Some religions are bad. They may teach truth, but I'm just saying if you kind of just say, oh, we're just let people do what they want, I'm saying it leads to that on a large scale.
I have to go soon, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna end off on this
Sure.
thought. He was like maniac, you know, but I think that honestly you could operate as a functional human being an atheist. I think there are benefits to believing in a faith and believing in something greater than all of us, but I think that, you know what, religions, I think that they separate us, and I will stand by that, and I will end up on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Tell me your name.
Alexa.
Alexa, thank you very much.
This is actually a really cool talk.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I'm
My
Hayden.
hands were getting all
No, it happens. I'll get a mic from you. Do you want my YouTube channel so you can find it?
Sure.
Okay, if you have a camera on your phone, you can scan this QR code. That was,
I love talking about
yeah,
religion.
that was a great conversation.
Yeah.
And I think if I was impressed you, in the way that I thought was appropriate.
Yeah, no.
I think we have something to learn from each other, and every person who sits down and tries to learn something, and to potentially have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Would you ever consider like looking into other religions?
Oh, I have, absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.